Francisco. On the ground, Votto will throw for one. The relay throw. The Reds have swept the Atlanta Braves. Tonight, the Reds look to extend their 6-game winning streak. And their main man is on the mound. Colorado and Cincinnati all starts right now on Fox Sports Ohio. Really nice weather night in downtown Cincinnati. And a happy Memorial Day weekend. We officially kick it off on this Friday night at Great American Ballpark. Reds are 4-0 thus far on this 7-game homestand. 3 more to go against Colorado, and coupled last night's win with a Cardinal loss against Philadelphia. And the Reds sit atop the National League Central Division going into play tonight. That's great news. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball, and they are red hot. They just completed 14 games, Chris, against teams over 500 with a 9-5 record. But we talked a bit about it last night. Now you're playing some teams that are under 500, and you can't have the letdown.
Well, I think, Tom, that's really for something that the fans ought to digest, because you say, hey, look at the schedule that the Reds have coming up. They got 3 at home here against the Rockies, then go on the road to play the Pirates, the Astros, come back for the Pirates and the Tigers. Now, you know, those National League teams that they're playing in the next 4 series, all under 500, they're teams that you think that you should come in there and sweep up a little bit. But it's not that easy in the game of baseball. You just really never know. You've got to take it one game at a time. Even more importantly, more basically, you take it one inning and one at bat at a time. And that's what they did in that 4-game sweep against the Atlanta Braves. And when you're sending your number 1 out on the mound against the Colorado Rockies, who quite frankly have been struggling, man, oh man, this really gives you a home field advantage.
You know, Chris, you and I were talking. You look at that home ERA. Now, those are the starts this year. But in his career here at probably the most hitter-friendly ballpark in the entire National League, one of the most hitter-friendly in Major League Baseball, his ERA still begins with a 1.
Well, if you're ball jockey, you're thinking, hey, how am I going to go out and get a free agent pitcher to come in here, because this is a tough ballpark to pitch in? All you got to do is show him what Johnny Cueto has done. And you've got the best home earned run average the last couple of years. There's Cueto against all these other guys that you see are the top pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. And it is amazing that he's able to do it right here. This is not a pitcher's ballpark at all. Johnny Cueto keeps the ball on the ground, period. I've never seen a ground ball go out of here. That's the bottom line there.
Boy, that is an astute observation right there.
I know a good line when I steal one.
Well, what about these Rockies? We know they've got 2 big sluggers in that lineup. We'll talk about that duo when we return. Crowd rolling in for the opener of this 3-game weekend series. What about our weather tonight? It's brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. And back in action, our man, Tim Hedrick.
Don't you love it when Johnny Cueto pitches? You get that old Louis Tiant, turn the back, dial up the pitch, and then the delivery. I could deliver a few spotty thunderstorms across the area. Most areas remaining dry, but there is that slight chance around first pitch. 82, halfway home 79, 75 degrees, heading home. Enjoy the game as he dials up those pitches on Fox Sports Ohio.
Well, a couple of guys he's got to keep an eye on tonight, Chris Welsh. Carlos Gonzalez and Troy Tulowitzki.
Hey, this is the ball club that can put some runs on the board. There's no question about that. You're talking about 2 All-Stars, 2 potential MVP-type players. When you're talking about cargo, this left-handed hitter can hit anybody in any part of the ballpark. And Troy Tulowitzki, well, he is essentially the poster boy for offense at shortstop. 6 home runs. He's a big guy. He's about 6 feet 4 inches tall. He can get it out of any ballpark. And those are 2 guys, really, when you're pitching against the Rockies in the center of the lineup, that you got to make sure that you concentrate on them. But even more so, you pitched against the guys ahead of them. And that is the most important thing to do.
All right, Johnny Cueto gets a ball when we come back. The Reds and the Rockies in the first of 3. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Tracy graduated from Baden High School in Hamilton, Ohio. 56 years young and manager of these Colorado Rockies. Let's take a look at his starting lineup tonight. Presented by AXA Advisors. Eric Young Jr. leads off in center field. Marco Scudero. Carlos Gonzalez out in left. Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop and cleanup batter. Todd Helton at first. Tyler Colvin replacing Michael Kadire in right. Jordan Pacheco, the third baseman. Waleed Rosario behind the plate for Christian Friedrich, a left-hander. And on the mound for the Reds, gunning for win number 6, Johnny Cueto.
Johnny Cueto has been so good at home. We showed you that in the open, but you see what he's done this year. He's got 1 complete game out of his 9 starts. 7 of those starts have been quality starts, and just a guy that is not afraid. He comes right after it. I think the most amazing thing out of that 4-game sweep of the Reds over the Atlanta Braves is what they did not pitch Johnny Cueto in that series. They saved him for tonight.
Eric Young Jr. leads it off, looks at a breaking ball, strike 1, and we are underway. Young, a late addition to the starting lineup. They originally had Tyler Colvin playing center field as it's 0-2, and Michael Kadire was in the lineup. And then just a few minutes ago, they made the change. Kadire out, Colvin to right, and Young in center. One ball and 2 strikes on Eric Young Jr. Of course, his father was on the original Colorado Rockies team going all the way back 20 years ago when they began playing that 1993 season. In the air, straightaway center, and easy for Drew Stubbs. 1 out. Take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by your Ford dealers. A night off tonight for the slumping Jay Bruce. Heisey in right, Stubbs in center, Ludwig in left. The regular crew along the infield. And Ryan Hannigan always back there when Johnny's on the mound. Reds riding the wave of a season-high 6-game winning streak, their longest since a 7-gamer in August of 2010. And there's strike 1 to Marco Scutaro, the Colorado's second baseman. It's interesting to note, when the Colorado Rockies played their first ever game back in 1993, they had a win over the San Francisco Giants. Dusty Baker was the manager of the Giants. That's when you know you're a manager that's won a lot of games, because here you are 20 seasons later, and outside of 1 year, you've been a manager every year since. Popped up down the right field line, and coming to get it is Heisey in fair territory for the second out of the inning.
Well, the Reds don't lose a lot on defense when you're able to move Heisey around. He can play center field for you, either the corner outfield positions equally as well. A little different to get used to at right field over there, just the way the ball comes off the bat. But, man, he covers a lot of ground. Very athletic outfield, no matter what the configuration is, really.
So now Carlos Gonzalez. He's one of those 2 big hammers right in the middle of that Colorado Rockies lineup. 8 home runs, 34 runs batted in, and that's after a woeful start in the month of April. Fastball in there, a strike. 2 years ago, flip a coin who should have been the National League's most valuable player. We know who won it. That was Joey Votto. But I mean, it was a 3-horse race. Votto, Pujols, and this guy Carlos Gonzalez. Last year, Gonzalez showed up overweight in spring training after signing a huge contract. And after some injuries slowed him down, he came on strong at the end of the year, wound up driving in nearly 100. And looking for big things here this season. 1-2. How do you like to attack Carlos Gonzalez? Good hitter.
You got to be very careful with him. You like to crowd him if possible, but you see his leg lift right there. It's all about timing with Gonzalez. He's able to inside out that ball. His real power alley is left center field.
2-2 to Gonzalez, and he's way out in front and pulls it foul and out of play. Naturally, the Rockies, over the 20 years in their franchise history, they have always been a team that knocks a cover off the ball at home, and by and large, every year of those 20 years has struggled hitting on the road. And this year is no different. The numbers are astounding. The difference between hitting at mile-high altitude, even with the humidor. 222 is their batting average as a team when they leave Denver this year.
Well, the humidor only tells part of the story. The humidor makes the baseballs, it makes them a little heavier. It doesn't make them travel as far. But what you still have in Colorado is thin air. So when you throw a breaking ball in Colorado, it kind of rolls up there instead of snaps. And that's the biggest adjustment they have when they go on the road. They see breaking balls like you don't see at Mile High.
Well, Cueto got ahead 0-2, and now the count is run full on Gonzalez with 2 down and nobody on.
And that same theory, Tom, really can be applied to a lot of the pitchers out there that have come down with sore arms, because they say, when you continue to try to throw your breaking ball in Colorado, you try to throw it so hard that eventually you wear yourself out and you injure yourself.
Breaking ball on the outside corner, strike 3. Gonzalez not sure. Perfect inning for Cueto. Reds are coming to bat. ...2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year by Cincinnati USA. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili tonight. Well, during that 4-game series, a sweep of the Braves, the Reds clubbed 10 home runs. Our lineup tonight presented by Axe Advisors. Cozart, Stubbs, and Votto to start it. Phillips, Heisey, and Ludwig in the middle. Latter third of Todd Frazier, Ryan Hannigan, Johnny Cueto. Reds getting their first look at left-hander Christian Friedrich. Made 2 back-to-back great starts on the road to start his major league career. Got banged around his first start in Colorado. But they like this young man, Chris, a great deal.
Well, they do, Tom. He was a former #1 draft pick back in 2008. Actually, he came from right down the road, Eastern Kentucky University down in Richmond, right off I-75. So you know where that is, just about 90 miles from here. He's a big guy, 6 feet 4 inches tall. He used to weigh about 240 pounds. That's before he went on a strict diet and workout regimen over the winter to whip himself into shape, and the results have been astounding. He can strike you out. He's got a very good curveball and a very good changeup.
Now, it should be noted, those first 2 starts he made on the road, you can't pitch in better ballparks than San Diego and San Francisco. That one popped up into foul ground, and Tulowitzki's got it, 1 out. But the bottom line is he pitched brilliantly. He struck out 17 batters in those first 2 games. Colorado defensively presented by Ford. Gonzalez, Young, and Colvin in the outfield. Pacheco, Helton on the corners. Tulowitzki, Scudero up the middle. And Rosario for the injured Ramon Hernandez. The former Red placed on the disabled list before the game tonight with an injured hand. Well, you look at the ERAs tonight. Friedrich up over 5. Tomorrow, Guthrie up over 5.5. And again, you get back to pitching in Denver or pitching anywhere else. Tomorrow night starter Guthrie has a road ERA of 1.8. So, maybe somewhere in the middle is where these guys, Chris, ultimately might end up, and that wouldn't be all that bad. These guys aren't a couple of pushovers here in this series. 0-2, 1-2 now to Stubbs.
Well, you've got to battle them, and I think the key here tonight for the Reds in battling not only all the Rockies pitching, but especially tonight, is the fact that you've got to lay off the high fastball. He throws the ball in the low to mid-90s, and he's got a little ride on it.
That's all for Stubbs.
You just saw that graphic of all the exact, you know, you have two pitching staffs here that are exactly at the opposite ends of the spectrum. You got the Rockies that are really struggling. Earned run average, opponent batting average, they're last. They're nearly last in all the other ones, too. Walks per 9 innings, strikeouts against walks, and so on. You know, that's something that'll make Bob Appadaka, who's a pitcher, could just pull his hair out. But there's not a whole lot you can do. They've had some injuries on their pitching staff. They've got young guys coming up that don't have a lot of experience. And it's always been a tough place to find good pitching, Colorado, period.
Well, the Reds are 4-0 on this homestand, and it's been a quiet stand for Joey Votto. Only 3 hits and 13 at-bats without an RBI. So even though he's going through a little bump in the road, the Reds are finding a way to win without him or Jay Bruce hitting at all. And Jay's sitting down tonight, only 1 hit in his last 32 at-bats. Well, you'd like to think for Jay Bruce that a day off perhaps could clear the head a little bit, and I would imagine right back in there tomorrow.
He doesn't get many of those off. There's no question about it. Plus, you got a tough left-hander out there tonight. If you need to give him a day, perfect time to do it.
Into right center field, that'll be a base hit for Votto. It'll roll all the way to the wall, and Votto will stop with his 18th double of the year.
You know, Votto makes that look so easy that it almost appears like he went to the plate looking for a curveball from Christian Friedrich. I mean, it's a good pitch. Look at the downward action on that curveball. I mean, that ball is dropping off a table. But Joey Votto whacks it to the wall, and he is safe at second, safe and secure.
New York line. I mean, you want me to get into the Canadian life now? You know, you talked about Frazier last night, New Jersey life.
There might be one of those. Better not.
I bet there is.
I was fielding phone calls all morning.
Were you? Bob Castellini, one of them?
No.
Tom
I did
Farmer?
see Bob at lunch, though.
All right.
Let's not go through the list.
Fair enough. Brandon Phillips with a runner in scoring position. 2 outs here in the last of the first inning, and that one is lined into center. Caught to retire the side. We're scoreless at the end of one in game 1. By Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. The Colorado Rockies, Chris, have dominated the Reds over the last 4 years.
It's amazing. And I'm not really sure why. The Reds seem to play well against them, but they just don't win any ball games. That's an incredible record the Rockies have against the Reds.
25-8, and they've won 18 of the last 23. No score. We begin the second inning tonight. Cueto coming off a perfect opening frame, and there's Troy Tulowitzki. Congratulations to the Moeller Crusaders after blanking my alma mater, Anderson, in the regional semis yesterday. They win the regional final today over arch rival Elder. Final of 6-4. Tim Held, the head coach at Moeller. Of course, he took over for our buddy Mike Cameron. That one looped into left center field. It'll roll to the wall, and Tulowitzki in with a leadoff double. So Moeller on to the state semifinals again.
Well, he gets his ball up, Johnny Cueto does, and it's just a fastball that just gets up in the top of the strike zone. Not a lot on it, only 89 miles an hour, and that's not a safe place to pitch Troy Tulowitzki.
I want to congratulate the guys out at Elder, Mark Thompson, their head coach, guys at Anderson. What a great year they had under Chris Newton. So all of those teams were hoping to march on to next weekend's state semifinals. It will be Moeller. Well, it seems like Moeller's become the dominant high school baseball program in the state, and one of the top two, three basketball programs in the state. In the air, right field, pretty well hit by Helton. Heisey at the wall, and it's into the first row, and Colorado has a 2-0 lead. Only the 5th home run all year long for Helton, batting at .220. But he jumped all over that one.
Well, he didn't hit it all that well. Looks actually like he got jammed a little bit on it, but he's so quick on the inside still. He's got a nice short swing, and in this ballpark, you can get some hits out of here on the handle. Cueto wants to go in, and it is in there over the plate, and Helton just brings those hands inside, shortens his swing, and just enough to get it on out of here. I'll tell you, as even as a ball flies in Colorado, that right field here at Great American Ballpark plays way shorter than it does at Coors Field.
Breaking ball down and in to Tyler Colvin, the former Cub. Helton, of course, he is the leader in every major offensive category in the history of the Rockies franchise since he came up back in 1997. It's his 352nd career home run. One and two to Colvin. Coleman, you may remember, came up in 2010 with the Cubs, and they thought he was going to be a mainstay in their outfield for the next decade. And I mean, you talk about falling off a cliff last year. His batting average dropped down into the 100s. Cubs shipped him off to Colorado in the Ian Stewart deal. And the Rockies feel like they have found the Tyler Colvin that we saw with the Cubs in 2010. Out of there swinging, second of the game for Cueto. On this Memorial Day weekend, we'd love to welcome all those watching in 175 countries and ships at sea around the world on AFN, the American Forces Network. We'll be back with you again Sunday at 1 o'clock. We'll be paying a special tribute to all those that are risking and have risked their lives to protect the greatest country in the world. God bless you all and keep you safe. Get our first look at Jordan Pacheco, playing regularly now at third base for Colorado. Was a second baseman playing at the University of New Mexico. The Rockies drafted him and turned him into a catcher. That's where he's been the last 3 years. And now they move him to third base.
Well, that's how much they think of his bat. They didn't want to waste him behind the plate. They want to make sure they got his bat in the lineup every day and not wear him out by, maybe having a platoon more behind the plate. They like his swing, good approach.
Straight away center field. Stubbs backs up 3 steps. 2 are out. Colorado comes in having won that final game 2 nights ago in their 3-game series in Miami. That win on Wednesday night set a 6-game losing streak. And back in Denver, they are screaming and hollering, and they want to know who's going to pay for this miserable start. Owner Charlie Monfort came out 2 days ago and said nobody is being replaced. Not the manager, not the general manager. Off the end of the bat, that one dumped into shallow center by Willeen Rosario, and he's aboard with a 2-out single. Dan O'Dowd, their general manager, he's had that job since 1999. 13 years. They've had 4 winning seasons and been to the playoffs twice. Friedrich 0 for 7. Tonight making just his 4th major league start. A ball and a strike. Cardinals will be playing game 2 of their 4-game weekend series at Busch Stadium later on against the Philadelphia Phillies. That was a wild game last night. Philadelphia hanging on to win 10-9, and by doing so, the Reds leapfrogging the Cardinals to sit atop the National League Central by a half game going into play tonight. Inning over, but a 2-run home run by Todd Helton has put Colorado in front 2-0.
$4 million. Don't forget the drawing is tonight at 11. Jim Day with you, just beside the Reds dugout. Chris Heisey is set to step to the plate for the Reds. He's in the 5 hole. And to expand on what the boys were talking about upstairs, Jay Bruce getting the night off tonight. Talked to Dusty Baker about it before the game, and he told Jay Bruce last night, you are getting a clear your head day. Gave him specific instructions. Told him to come to the park, get a good meal, get a massage, get in the jacuzzi. If you want to take some BP in the cage, go ahead, but do not take batting practice on the field. He wanted him to come on the field, play first base, play shortstop, goof around, do whatever you want to do, but above all, clear your mind. He is available to pinch hit should the situation present itself. But Jay Bruce, against a lefty, good time to get him to just sit back and think about it.
Jim Day, thank you very, very much. We'll see if the Reds can get it rolling here in the second inning. We mentioned it's their first look at Christian Friedrich. Chris Heisey has been swinging a real good bat here over the last couple of weeks. Has that batting average from the 100s, knocking on the door to 280. Still is not homered. Has 7 runs batted in. I think the lack of a home run through nearly 2 months surprises a lot of us, considering Heisey in really about half the playing time a regular player would get. He clubbed 18 home runs a season ago.
And a lot of those, of course, came off the bench where he was able to feed on fastballs, fired up there. He's got as quick a bat as anybody around. Do you see how hot he is right now? And really the thing for Chris Heisey is that he's made an adjustment in his approach, where he's getting his hands separated. I mean, you go back to when you played Little League baseball or not-hole baseball, what you do is you step forward with your leg. As you do, your hands go back. Well, he didn't do that. He would just kind of keep them there on his back shoulder, and it tied him up. That's why he would look so miserable against breaking balls for so long. He made that little adjustment, and he has caught fire. In fact, you see Heisey beginning to make that adjustment with his hands even before he makes his stride. He starts to get his hands back, and then he strides forward just to make sure he gets that separation. Just watch his hands right here, and they will move this way.
Pretty good at bat here to start off the inning.
Here's a little better look at what his hands are doing. You see him move back right there and get some little bit of separation right there. And that gives him the ability to attack the ball through the strike zone much better than trying to hit with those hands almost right in front of you.
Ninth pitch in this at bat, Friedrich against Heisey, and there'll be a 10th. Chris brought up Friedrich earlier. He grew up right around Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois. Played collegiately, #1 pick, Eastern Kentucky. But after the last 2 years where he was stuck in Double-A ball with an ERA of over 5 and only won 9 games total over the last 2 years, he was very much in the Colorado doghouse. Here's strike 3 call.
Now we'll take another look at it. Paul Emmel calls it a strike. Let's take a look and see what you think. Little frame job there by Willeen Rosario. He gets the call for Friedrich and one out in the second inning. You know that he was in the doghouse. General Manager Dan O'Dowd was all over Friedrich for just bad habits as far as maintaining his weight. He had gotten a habit of eating late at night. He ballooned up to 240 pounds. He's down to about 220 now. I mean, he's a big guy. He's 6 feet 4 inches, and you can see that he's not a skinny 6'4". I mean, he's just a big man. But he dedicated himself last year, really starting in October, sitting on the beach in Palm Beach, Florida. Had a little soul searching and decided that he was going to do whatever he could to get right, which meant eating right, working out. He shares the same agent as does Cliff Lee. So he went to live at Cliff Lee's house for about 2 weeks over the winter time, and he learned a lot from Lee. But he was most impressed, I think, by Lee's physical conditioning.
In the air, right center field. Drifting is Young, and that's the second out. Well, you know the drill. If a red hits that Toyota sign out in right center field tonight, Josh Davidson from out in Amelia will win the beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. And why not register for your chance to win it? Just stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Two down, none on. Reds have one hit. That was a 2-out double by Votto. Boy, and getting a look at Friedrich for the first time. A lot of early swings after the lengthy at bat by Heisey. Ludwig and Frazier gone lickety split. 2-0 at the end of 2. American Ballpark, and make sure to take advantage of the Reds 4 for $48 ticket deal. It's 4 view level tickets and 4 Reds hats for $48. And the first 8,000 kids 14 and younger receive kids binoculars thanks to our friends at Tire Discount. Log on to Reds.com, call 381-REDS, or you can pick up tickets at most Kroger locations in and around Reds country. It's a big weekend downtown. Taste of Cincinnati kicks off tomorrow, expecting nearly 500,000 people to come rolling into downtown Cincinnati over the weekend. Between that event, Reds baseball tomorrow night and Sunday, and they've got a couple of big shows over at U.S. Bank Arena the next 2 nights. So there's a lot going on. Bouncer at Brandon Phillips, and Young thrown out. Cueto allowed the leadoff double to Tulowitzki in the second inning, and then gave up the home run into the first row against Helton. The only 2 runs in the night so far. Now Marco Scudero, he popped up to Heisey down the right field line in the first inning. Colorado team's got a lot of age on it. I mean, they've gone through more quote-unquote programs or philosophies, whatever you want to call it, during the Dan O'Dowd regime, and you could probably count on one hand. They've got 5 players on this team born in the 1970s. They have 1 born in the 1960s. There's a base hit into left field.
And we'll see that guy on Sunday.
Indeed we will. Mr. Jamie Moyer. 49 years young, Jamie Moyer.
Sounds like you got a little age bias there, partner.
Not at all. I'm right there with him. I could hang in that clubhouse.
I hear you.
I mean,
He's
Jamie
probably
and
got the same songs on your iPod that you do.
There's no doubt about it. Although he's got, what, 8 kids or something like that, so he probably knows everything.
Mm-hmm.
All the different kind of
8 kids. You know every nursery rhyme in the book by then.
Well, and then some. I beg your pardon. He has 7 children. Not 8, 7. His first child was born in 1991. 91! That means he's got a son older than Bryce Harper, who's playing for the Washington Nationals. Wow. One and one on Carlos Gonzalez, runner at first with 1 out. Gonzalez struck out looking on a breaking ball and a 3-2 pitch to end the first inning. Pretty good numbers there for the man they affectionately know as Cargo out in Denver.
Well, if you don't know it yet and you haven't read the scouting report, Johnny Cueto has about the best, if not the best, very close to it, quickest feet and throw over to first base of any right-handed pitcher in the league. I mean, if you stray off that bag 2 inches more than you should, you're going to get picked. Uh-oh.
Down the right field line, and that is a foul ball. And a good thing.
Just a changeup that anyway floats down and in, and he wanted that down and away, and that's a wheelhouse for Carlos Gonzalez. He'll just drop that bat head and hit that ball a long way. Didn't get a lot of that one. It just doesn't look like tonight that Johnny Cueto has that extra oomph on his fastball. He's throwing his fastball anywhere from 89 to 91, 92. But we've seen in the past on his really good nights, when he needs it, he can rear back and throw 94, 95. That was a pretty good one there. But again, what's been impressive about Johnny over the last couple of years is his ability to get it, meaning he doesn't have to throw every pitch, you know, as hard as he can. He pitches at 90% and has a little in the tank when he needs to push it to the floor.
3 balls, 2 strikes. We'll see if Scudero's running. He is, and it's a bouncing ball up the middle. And Phillips is not going to get it out. Oh, they gave him the call at first base. Mercy. And Gonzalez cannot believe it.
Wow.
And Jim Tracy's going to come out and argue with the first base umpire, Scott Berry.
Looks like Brandon Phillips gets this ball and he thinks maybe he's going to go to second base, and then he loses control of the baseball. So he fires it to first. Ooh, Reds catch a break right there.
So 2 are out of the inning. You have Scudero in scoring position, and here's Tulowitzki, who doubled to left center field and scored on the Helton home run in the 2nd inning. Breaking ball low. The Atlanta Braves just took a 4-day beating here in Cincinnati, and they have gone back home. And in the very first inning, the Nationals have jumped on them 4-0 and still batting. Tulowitzki now in his 6th year. Still only 27 years young, and regarded by many as the best all-around shortstop in the National League. Back-to-back years has won the Gold Glove Award there, and he's been without a doubt the best offensive shortstop in either league the last couple of years.
Well, you know, you stand and you look at Troy Tulowitzki in the batter's box. He's a big, tall guy, 6'3", 6'4", and he's got a very straight up and down batting stance. And normally guys that stand like that like to hit the ball that's down in the zone. They like to drop that bat head. But if you really look at his numbers and where he hits the ball the best, he loves that ball up. Had a very good cut of the ball in the 2nd inning when he lined that ball in the gap for a double. That ball was up. And by having that call go in the Reds' favor on Gonzalez at first base, leaves a base open, so he didn't have to pitch to Tulowitzki right there. Puts a man on.
Join us this Sunday for a pregame at the Reds live set for Sunglass Sundays. 100 people will receive free sunglasses courtesy of Fox Sports Ohio and the Ohio Department of Public Safety, reminding you to buckle up. A guaranteed home run every trip, every time. It's interesting to note that Helton hit that home run on a fastball inside his first time up tonight. And boy, you talk to a lot of the scouts that have seen Helton play this year, and he has had a terrible time of it so far. And now he's cheating on everything in. So, you know, to pitch him there, you're almost doing him a favor.
Yeah, but, you know, in the defensive pitching him in there and him getting around on it, that was one of those fence scrapers here at Great American. I'm not making excuses because we see it all the time, but he didn't hit that ball all that well. Just happened to be one of those where he just hit it in the right spot to get it out of here. I thought it was a very interesting comment that Dusty Maker made to Jay Bruce. He said more hits on the handle than there is on the end of the bat. Meaning that Jay Bruce has been he's been pulling his front side out, his shoulder out a lot, and getting the ball out on the end of the bat when pitchers have been pitching him away. And that's the kind of saying that sticks with a player.
4-pitch walk to Helton. And wow, Cueto is really scuffling. You pointed it out a little while ago, Chris. And this will draw a visit from Brian Price. Pitch count at 57 already. We're in the third inning.
Well, he's faced 14 batters so far. Cueto has. He hasn't done very well in throwing first pitch strikes. Only 5 of 14. Now, that's opposite of what you would expect of Cueto. He's usually a guy that attacks the strike zone, and you never really know what's going on. I mean, it just could be he doesn't feel great today, have a bad biorhythms day. You don't really know. But you know one thing about Cueto is that he's going to go out there and battle you every pitch.
Is there a way to test to find out if you're having a bad biorhythms day?
I think there's a chart.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, I think so.
A biorhythms chart? I mean,
believe
they
so.
make up for you individually, or is it based on when you're born? Or?
I think it's based on when you're born, but they make it up for you individually, too. I can check that out for you.
We got to look into that. So then, when we're doing a game, we'll have a good idea if, I'm going to be a little off. I must have a lot of bad biorhythm days.
I could check into that, too.
Let me know about that.
I've had my theories on that with you.
They are loaded now for Tyler Colvin. Well, maybe Colvin's having a bad biorhythm day. Off the glove of Cueto. Look who's there. Right there, Johnny on the spot all the time is Phillips. Reds caught a break on a call, so it's a scoreless inning. Tonight brought to you by Miller Lite. All right, it's time now, Chris, for our Meyer Text Poll. Which home run from the Braves series was your favorite? Mike Leake's first career home run, the game-winning home run by Frazier, or the grand slam by Devin Mesoraco? Now, this is a good question. Text either 1, 2, or 3 to 37664. Normal messaging rates do apply, and we'll show you the results a little bit later on tonight. How about for you, Chris?
I'm going with the slam.
I'm with you.
I loved slams, except when I would give them up, which is fairly often. But I love that Mesoraco one, especially his first. It's great. Now, from what I understand,
I would have lost a lot of money. I thought, you pitchers and your fraternity and everything, that you'd have picked Mike Lee.
That was nice. Definitely. He's going to have more of those. That guy's a player.
Reds trailing 2-0. It'll be 8-9 and 1 in the batting order. Hannigan, Cueto, and Kozar. Hannigan having a real nice year. Look at that month. Batting down there in the 8-hole. It's not an easy place to hit for any player. Go ask Ron Oster. He hit in that spot many, many, many games during his long-time career, and he'll tell you it is not easy. Still 2-2 on Hannigan, leading off the Reds bottom half of the third against Christian Friedrich. Broken bat roller to Tulowitzki.
That's the first ground ball that the Reds have hit off of Friedrich out there. And I was beginning to tell the story about Christian Friedrich, about how he was on the bad list, really, of the general manager, Dan O'Dowd, for not taking care of himself, a former #1 draft pick that they had high hopes for. And when he hit the AA level, I mean, he just stopped winning. And in his mind, it was a combination of a couple things. Number one, he didn't take care of himself, wasn't in great shape. But number two, throughout the Rockies minor league system, they know that they're developing pitchers to pitch eventually at Coors Field. So they're trying to instill in them the belief that they've got to be ground ball pitchers, because you can't be a fly ball pitcher at Coors Field and be successful. It's been proven over and over again. So unless you're a blazing fastball pitcher with a lot of strikeouts, they want you to convert to ground balls. So what he took that to mean was throw a lot of soft stuff, get it down, try to throw a sinking fastball, take a little bit off your fastball, throw it two seams, run it around the knees, and his strikeout rate went way down, his home run rate went way up, and it had the exact opposite effect. So after working out with Cliff Lee and reevaluating his delivery and his lifestyle, he came into camp just looking outstanding. He got the quote-unquote Shaper Award for having made over his body from one year to the next, and he's forgotten all about throwing ground balls. He says, I'm a four-seam fastball guy. I throw that ball across the letters. I throw it hard. I've got a big overhand curveball and a changeup. Now, if I get a ground ball, probably going to come on one of those pitches, but I'm going to ride my fastball whenever I can. And in two of the first three major league starts that he's had, he's been very, very good.
Strike one to count on Cozart. He popped up to the shortstop his first time up. You know, you always wonder, though, Chris, he brought up that ball is stung down the left field line. This will be extra bases for Zach Cozart. This will be his 11th double of the year. You know, you wonder about the psychological part. You talked about working out with Cliff Lee. Another thing he did, from what I understand, is had multiple conversations with Mike Hampton about pitching with confidence, pitching at Coors Field, et cetera, et cetera. I just wonder, you pitch your first two games, San Diego. Best pitcher's park in the world. And next one, San Francisco.
And one of the poor lineups you're going to face in the league, too.
San Francisco, another great pitcher's park, another shaky lineup. Now, that theory you talked about that he has, I am this. The first game you pitch in Denver, you give up 8.
In an interleague game, a team you haven't seen, the Mariners came in there. And, yeah, it could get into your head. And believe me, if it gets in his head, he would not be the first. It just has a phobia about pitching in Denver. I pitched in Denver when the Reds had a AAA team there. Believe me, it is not an easy place to pitch. You find yourself wearing yourself out trying to get your breaking pitches to work.
Well, second time now through the batting order. We'll see if the Reds have any better success. He only had one base runner the first time through a 2-out double by Votto in the opening inning. And now a 2-out double by Cozart, and here's Stubbs, who struck out his first time up. 2-1.
Well, this is a good night to pitch. I mean, if you just evaluate it from a temperature, humidity standpoint, it's not so hot that you're sweating so much you can't keep the baseball dry and that you're going to wear yourself out early. But it is humid enough that you're going to have good resistance on the breaking ball. You're going to get a good grip on the ball. And it's one of those nights where you start getting a feel that can really help you.
Two hopper to Tulowitzki, and that's going to end the Reds' third inning. It hit a man left. So we played 3, and Friedrich so far so good. 2-0 Colorado. Daughter, a big league experience this summer. The official Reds baseball and softball camps get underway, presented by Safeco Insurance. All campers get their own Reds uniform, special instruction from a Reds coach. Going to come on the field here at Great American Ballpark, and a guest appearance by a future and current Red star. Visit Reds.com/camps today. Colorado 2, the Reds nothing, on a 2-run home run by Todd Helton in the Rockies' second inning. Johnny has allowed 4 hits. He's walked 2 and struck out 3. Needs an easy inning. He's got the bottom part of the batting order. Well, these are 2 of the youngsters of the 3 that'll bat. All 3 of them youngster if you include the pitchers. But Pacheco and Rosario, they think they have a chance to be very good offensive players as they move along in their careers. They say this Rosario can hit a ball as far as anybody in baseball. So 1 out, and here is Rosario. He hit one off the end of the bat that dropped into shallow center field for a base hit his first time up. I was over there near the Reds radio booth. Of course, Marty Brennaman in no danger tonight. He has the entire week off.
Well, not unless he gets bit by a snake camping out in the wilds of eastern Ohio. Falls off a cliff.
Well, God forbid that doesn't happen.
Runs out of water. Breaks a shoestring into his hiking shoes.
Talked about it last night. My dad has certainly always been, even since I was a little guy, one of the great outdoorsmen that you could ever come across.
Hey, one of the highlights for him in spring training was that huge Cabela's that was right up the road from the Red spring training complex.
Spent
a lot of time in there.
Two and one on Rosario, and a tapper. That is a fair ball, and bounces into the stands, and Rosario will be awarded second base.
I think if Todd Frazier had a chance to do that over again, realizing that the catcher is running, he didn't have to turn this into a do-or-die play. He could have got in front of the ball, played it more off of his chest, and still had plenty of time to get the runner. He had tried to backhand it and almost made the play, but that ball just came up on him higher than he thought, and they're going to give him a base hit.
It's an infield double.
You don't see many of those.
No, you don't. Well, now Friedrich, he struck out his first time up, 0 for 8 as a batter. He's yet to put down a successful sacrifice. Going to let him swing away, at least on the first pitch, strike one. And there's a base hit into left field. They are going to hold the runner at third base. So the struggles for Johnny tonight continue.
I think they're going to want that baseball. That's his first major league hit. They're all waving for it in the Rockies dugout. Well, he'll remember that one for a while. He didn't get it off some stiff. That's off Johnny Cueto. Tommy Runnels, former Cincinnati Red, bench coach for Jim Tracy. Nothing cheap about this one.
So now they're on the corners, and Cueto has some work to do yet again. Colorado had the bases loaded when Cueto got Colvin to bounce out ending the third inning, and after retiring the first batter here in the fourth, an infield double on a misplay two-hopper at third, followed by a base hit by the pitcher. Shallow center field. This will fall in a hit, and Colorado has a 3-0 lead. Well, they've had a few of these already tonight.
That little breaking ball right there, right on the end of the bat. Eric Young Jr. gets it. Yeah, sometimes you have nights like that.
Cueto, as you know, has only had one rough outing this entire year. That was 2 starts ago when he was just hammered down in Atlanta. And that gives you an idea of how great he has been so far this year. The fact that he gave up 6 runs in 4 innings and still comes in with an ERA tonight of under 2. It's over that now, of course. But tonight, one of those nights, he's just got to keep his team in the game for as long as he can, and hope this Reds offense can wake up against Friedrich. 1-1 is Scudero. Scudero, one of those guys they call in baseball a grinder. He just keeps going and going and going. He's bounced around. Originally came up with the Mets in 2002. Was there for 2 years with Oakland, where he really established himself as a major league player for 4 years. Toronto in 08 and 09, and then the last 2 years in Boston. There's one, and that's a double play to end the inning. Colorado gets a run and leads 3-0 after 3.5. Punch top can for a smoother pour. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Check in on the results from our Meyer text poll. Your chance to win a Fox Sports Ohio Meyer prize pack. Text Meyer, M-E-I-J-E-R, to 37664 to be entered. Good luck. And most of you feel the way Chris does. A Mesoraco salami last night. You know, I heard a nice story. The Reds approached the family. It was a family that caught that ball out there. I believe it was a a mom and dad and 3 kids. And, you know, they approached him. Mesoraco obviously wanted to or would like to have had that baseball, his first career Grand Slam, and the family said absolutely. And, you know, we don't need anything, don't want anything. Red said no. Loaded all the kids up with signed, you know, autographs, memorabilia, and tonight brought the entire family down, put them in Diamond Club seats, and have a great night.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, the Reds do a lot of stuff like that. I had a buddy of mine in my neighborhood who brought his daughter to a game, and they caught a foul ball and talked about how, you know, the ushers come down and present them with that plaque, you know, for making a play. They do a lot of great work around here. The customer service, great place to watch a ball game.
Well, they've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
They've been going all the way back to the days of Crosley Field. If you caught a ball in the stands, they give you an honorary contract. Always wanted one of those.
Well, you got a real one.
Yeah.
I mean, guys like me want an honorary one. You got a real one.
I still like to have an honorary one. Never caught a foul ball. Almost caught one that bounced off your dad, though, one night.
Well, that's the best kind to get. Votto 2 for 2 tonight. Had a double his first time up, now a single in the center field.
Well, Votto hit a breaking ball his first time up, so he's thinking along with the pitcher and also with the catcher, Willeen Rosario, thinking, all right, they know I hit a breaking ball the first time. They're going to try to throw a fastball by me. So what does he do? He's waiting for it, whacks it right back through the box for a base hit.
Well, a couple of guys that can hit right there, boy.
You're not kidding about that.
Man. Now Brandon Phillips. Fastball in there, strike. Reds down 3-0. But we're still very early on in this one. Bottom half of the 4th inning. A leadoff hit by Votto. And that's followed by a base hit by Brandon Phillips. Oh, Votto made too big of a turn and caught a break. You could see up here what he had in mind was the third baseman went so far to his left that Votto thought he would catch Pacheco napping down there and go first to third and basically run right by him.
Well, maybe out of the corner of your screen, you're going to see Pacheco lay out right there. And if he takes a long time getting up and doesn't cover the bag, Votto thinking, hey, I'm going to come right around here. My momentum's going to take me into third. But he gets hung out in no man's land, and a good throw from left field gets him. But the Reds catch a break, and they've got something going here. Now, you're looking at one of the better left fielders in the National League there in Carlos Gonzalez. So the Reds really catch a break based on who's out there.
All right, let's see if they can make something happen here. This crowd has been unbelievably quiet all night long. They're now looking for something to get excited about. 2 on, nobody out in the Cincinnati 4th inning. Here's Chris Heisey. 0-1. First time all night you're putting a little pressure on young Mr. Friedman. Two and 0. Oh, he had a good pitch to hit right there and fouled it straight back out of play. Votto a hit into center. Phillips a hit into left. 2 on, nobody out. 2-1 the count on Heisey. And a liner caught, and they can't double up Votto.
Bob Apodaca, longtime pitching coach. He's been around a lot of places, and he has brought a lot of young pitchers to terrific careers in the major leagues. Out there lecturing the young left-hander. May have seen something right there. In the last 3 batters, all hit the ball fairly hard. Heisey's a kind of a change-up line drive that he hit the shortstop. You're looking at one of the best pitching coaches around there at Apodaca.
Now Ludwig's turn. He flied out weakly to short right center field his first time up. It takes a fastball high. It has been a major struggle outside of really 4 swings of the bat for Ludwig so far. He's knocked in 15 runs on those 4 home runs. This one's in the air, maybe a little bit better hit. And it's back to the wall, and it is up against the wall. Votto had to wait, and he is just now scoring to see if that ball would be caught. So the Reds on the board, Phillips on to third on a double by Ryan Ludwig.
Well, that's where Ryan Ludwig likes to hit the ball. He hit it there his first time up, but it was flagged down by the center fielder. This time he does get a little bit more of it. Little inside-out swing, and even though the trajectory of that baseball looked like it went straight up and nearly went out, pinned against the wall by the right fielder. Votto's holding up, and then Brandon Phillips has got to hold up when he goes around second base. So Barry will wave one in, put the red light on the other one, and the Reds are on the board.
Well, now base hit will tie this baby up. Todd Frazier, the batter. He flied out to right field his first time up. Breaking ball stays high. One and one. Big swing there. Frazier trying to put the Reds in front with that swing at a bat. Well, the Rockies on the infield conceding the run. So, I mean, obviously you'd love to have a 3-run home run here, but at the very minimum, a ground ball will bring in another run in this inning. 1-2 on Frazier. Barely got a piece of it to hang around.
Well, that's a pretty good looking curveball right there. I mean, right over the top. Christian Friedrich has a big high arm arc anyway. I mean, he comes out with an overhand delivery, which means when he throws that curveball, it's going to be more down than side to side. And Frazier just gets a piece of that one. A pick of that one. You may expect the same thing right here.
Friedrich a long look in. Phillips at third. Ludwig at second. And it's hammered down the line. It's going to tie the game. Frazier delivers again. It's a 3-3 affair. There's another guy, Chris, starting to warm up, getting regular playing time for the first time.
Well, he hangs alive on that pitch before, and he gets a slider right there. After throwing a real good curveball, you hang one right in the center of the zone, and Todd Frazier puts the wood to it. Ripped down the line. That scores a couple. Big time. You're right about that, Tom. Little by little, that batting average is creeping up. Now up a little bit over 270.
Extra base hits. I mean, he's got, what, 9, 10, 11 of them now. All right, now Hannigan. Still only 1 out in the inning. Reds have tied the game. 4 hits. He had 2 hits in the first 3 innings. We wondered how Friedrich would fare after he got through the batting order 1 time. Well, now a second time through the order, the Reds have sent 7 men to the plate and have 5 hits against him. And for a change on this homestand, Chris, the Reds are not scoring with the long ball.
That was really about the only way they did score in that Atlanta series. It seemed like they hit so many home runs, and so many of the home runs they hit were solo shots. In fact, I think they only scored 2 runs in the entire series that were not generated by the long ball.
Yeah, 14 out of their 16 runs.
Unbelievable there.
2-0 now to Hannigan, trying to get the go-ahead run in. And a fastball and a good one on the outside corner, 2-1.
Well, if I'm Christian Friedrich, here I am down the number 8 man. I've had a bad inning. I am definitely going after Ryan Hannigan right here. I said, this has got to be an out for me because I've got the pitcher coming up next. Last thing he wants is see that lineup get turned over, and that all starts all over again with the guy that hit him for a double the last time up. Might get something good to hit right here.
Whatever that was, it was all speed, and it was down and away from it.
Little slider, I think.
It's pretty good confidence in a 2-1 pitch.
He's probably second guessing himself right now as to why he tried to sneak a fastball by Todd Frazier. After seeing a bad swing by Frazier on the curveball, you try to outthink yourself sometimes.
Struck him out on that same pitch. 4 of them for Friedrich.
Now that pitch is a slider, it looks like. That may be a curveball. I'm not really sure that ball's going down so much. He's got good action on his changeup, good action on his curveball. The slider is the one he's kind of hung up there a little bit.
Cueto 1 hit in 16 at bats on the year. Okay, we've seen Cueto a couple of times in his career where he'll take a look at where the infield's playing, and with 2 outs, he'll try and push a bunt first base side and get a hit. Helton's playing about 15 feet behind the bag over there. And Helton doesn't move around all that well. He's an outstanding defensive first baseman, still is.
Yeah, that push bunt, though, is not really a bunt that a lot of pitchers practice. They practice laying the sacrifice down, and Cueto is one of the best on the league. There, he's thinking about it right there. That's a bad pitch to try it on the low inside fastball. But he's able to pull the bat back and go 2-0. But he's thinking right along with you, Tom. Against a left-hander, left-hander falls a little bit off towards third base, so you really want to get it on that right side if you can. The Rockies aren't buying into it. They haven't moved their defense one bit.
Two and one out of Cueto. Lead run is Frazier out at second base with 2 away. Ball 3. taking all the way 3-1. And that's a strike to even a count. So now the payoff to Cueto. Trying to keep this inning alive for Kozart. Cannot do it. But a good fourth inning for the Reds. They get 4 hits, 3 runs, RBIs by Ludwig, and 2 of them from Frazier. A 3-3 game. It's baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by JTM Food Group, creating great dishes together for the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. A rosy red hanging out. A smile on that little guy's face. Right now on FoxSportsOhio.com, Zach Jackson has a story of a quietly dominant baseball team, the Kent State Golden Flashes. And how McCoy talks to Todd Frazier on his wild season so far. It's all on FoxSportsOhio.com. They've built quite a program up there at Kent State. Baseball. Ball 1 low and away to Carlos Gonzalez. Reds get 3 in the bottom of the 4th inning. And we're tied at 3 as we open the 5th. This is a big inning for Cueto. He is not long for this game, meaning he's not going 9 tonight. That's his 74th pitch. Question is, how long can he hang in there? And if he can find a way to get through 3, 4, and 5 in his batting order. Talk about it all the time, not to say the bottom of the order can't hurt you. We've seen that already tonight from Colorado, but you certainly would take your chances. 2-1 to Gonzalez, who's 0 for 2. Gonzalez, originally an Arizona Diamondback. They were the first team that signed him out of Venezuela. And then unbelievably was traded. Now they got Dan Herron back, but Herron wasn't in Arizona very long. They sent Gonzalez to Oakland. And then Gonzalez came from Oakland to Colorado in the Matt Holliday deal. Three balls, 2 strikes on Carlos Gonzalez. And we'll do it again. hit hard into left field, and that will sail over the head of Ryan Ludwig, and Gonzalez is in sliding with a double to open up the Colorado fifth. Good hitter.
Well, you're not kidding about that. He got behind in the count. We'll take a look at that with our Mazda pitch by pitch. Tried a couple of off-speed pitches first. That's a changeup. That might be another changeup right there. Obviously trying to pitch Carlos Gonzalez away, all off-speed. Knocks him off the plate with a fastball. Another fastball right there. And finally on the breaking ball, Gonzalez had seen enough of those on the outer part of the plate. Goes with it. And he picks up his 10th double of the year. That was a good battle right there by Gonzalez, because Cueto looked like he was moving the ball around. He just got that last one up.
Tulowitzki dribbles one out in front of the plate. Hannigan picks it up, throws. No, they called him safe. Bang, bang play. It's an infield hit. Perhaps a makeup call there over at first by Scott Berry.
I'm not so sure umpires really do that. If they make a mistake, it's normally because they make the call too soon. And Dusty Baker saying the same thing that Jim Tracy said a few innings ago on a ball that was hit by Carlos Gonzalez. It looked for a moment that maybe Ryan Hannigan got slowed down at first by Johnny Cueto, but now that I see it on the replay, it did not happen that way. Let's see if we can tell safer out. Safe.
Yep, good call. The Rockies probably feeling like their luck is turned a little bit after snapping that 6-game losing streak with a win 2 nights ago. I mean, they've hit a couple of balls hard here tonight. They've had a lot of dinking and dunking going on too among their 9 base hits. That little roller right there went all of about 12 or 15 feet for Tulowitzki. May not be long before the Reds have some action in that bullpen. We're only in the 5th, but Cueto up over 80 pitches in the game and has been in trouble virtually every inning outside of a 1-2-3 first. He gave up 2 runs, 3 hits in the second. Colorado left the bases loaded on a hit and 2 walks in the third. Scored a run on 3 hits. Left a runner on. It took a double play to get out of the 4th. At 3-0 now to help. Threw it right by him, 3-2.
Best fastball of the night right there for Johnny Cueto. Location-wise, it was right on the outside corner of the knees. Velocity up to 94. So Johnny always seems to save a little bit in the tank when he needs it, and he needs it right here.
Again on that fastball, fouled out of play. What city was named one of the top 3 places to visit in 2012? Cincinnati, Ohio. Book your weekend getaway at CincinnatiUSA.com. Cueto trying to get behind, or the crowd trying to get behind Cueto to get a big strikeout here of help. And the bullpen indeed gets busy. Rookie J.J. Hoover begins to loosen. Base hit into center field. And just like that, Colorado jumps in front again. Helton has knocked in 3 runs tonight.
Well, he went down and got a pretty good pitch right there. I don't think Johnny Cueto's got to look back and even look at the video and say, hey, I made a mistake right here. Look where that pitch is, right at the bottom of the strike zone, even if it is high enough to be a strike. Helton can hit. He always has been able to. He continues to. And Cueto needs to find a way to get a couple outs here.
Season high allowed base hits tonight for Cueto, and it's only in 4+ innings. He's given up 10 base hits. Still nobody out. And you got to wonder how long Dusty Baker's going to stay with Cueto.
Well, you stay with your ace a little longer than you do anybody else in that rotation. But you know, you don't become an ace unless you figure out ways to get out of jams like this.
And this is a good way to do it if they can turn it quickly, and that they do. On to third base goes Tulowitzki, but a big double play off the bat of Colvin. That's a second turn tonight by the Reds.
Both of those involving Brandon Phillips starting it off. He took one behind the bag in the last inning and stepped on the bag, fired at the first. This time he starts the easy 4-6-3. Tell you what, if you give up 3 hits to start the inning, including an inning opening double, and get out of the inning with only 1 given up, that's what I call damage control.
Jordan Pacheco, the third baseman, 0 for 2, is fly to center and bounced out to second base. One and one. Philadelphia 2-0 lead over St. Louis. Both Philadelphia runs coming in the second inning, and they are still batting in the second inning. Hardy again on the 93-mile-per-hour fastball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cueto trying to make it just the 1 run in the inning. And he'll have to deliver once more to Pacheco at 1 ball and 2 strikes. See that pitch count, 3 innings now, including this 5th. Up over 20 pitches. First inning, his only perfect inning of the game.
I mean, it just goes to show you that all nights are different for a starting pitcher. I remember Tom Seaver used to say that out of every 5 starts, you may have 2 times where you have your good stuff. Those other 3, you've got to get out there and battle them. Sometimes you don't have your control. Other times you don't have the control of your breaking pitch, or your velocity is not there, whatever it is. It's not very often that everything comes together. There are times when Johnny Cueto just throws his glove out there and he makes it look that easy. Then you've got these nights.
Oh boy, that's a big hit on a 1-2 pitch up the left field line. And that'll be a run scoring double with 2 outs for Pacheco. And Cueto has now given up 5 runs on 11 hits. And that's all for Johnny Cueto tonight. Coming off the great effort where he beat CC Sabathia and the Yankees 5-1 last Sunday. Just not Johnny's night tonight. But it doesn't mean the Reds offensively can't get him off the hook. Colorado in front 5-3. Our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen summons J.J. Hoover. We'll be back.
Is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, just not Johnny Cueto's night tonight. That's all there is to it. As great as he's been all year long, just chalk it up one of those games.
Yeah, but you know, even at that, he gets his ball club into the 5th inning with a couple outs, and yeah, they're still within striking range. A bad night for Cueto. Yeah, 5 runs in 4 2/3 innings, but ball right down the line. Another bad hop base hit off the third baseman earlier that ended up scoring a run.
Yeah, there were a lot of dinks and dunks mixed in along with some rockets. I don't want to take anything away from these Colorado hitters. They've hit some balls hard, but there have been a little.
But that happens,
here.
you know.
Yeah, it does.
Over the course of the year, you're going to have games in which they hit rockets and they're right at people. In fact, you may have streaks of 4 or 5 starts in a row where you're hitting the ball very hard off a certain pitcher and it falls into the leather and they don't get anything out of it. Then other days, you go out there and they dink the ball in there. And anyway, it's going to be up to J.J. Hoover after an intentional walk to get things going.
How good has this young man been?
He's been outstanding, and what a nice man he is, too. Such a nice kid.
You were down there taping some tech talks with him the other day.
Yeah, and he does a very good job of breaking it down. He's got a good understanding. You talk about a guy that keeps it simple, but he knows what he wants to do with the pitches, and he doesn't try to complicate things.
2 on and 2 out. 0-1 to Friedrich. Now, the other guy you told me that you did some with the other day that you were also very impressed with, Alfredo Simon.
Yeah, a lot of people around the ball club really haven't gotten to know Alfredo very much, but nice young man. Very fluent in English. Understands, can articulate what he wants to do. Has a good idea of his delivery and the pitches that he throws. He did a bang-up job out there on those tech talks. J.J. Hoover today was a guest in the season ticket holders luncheon, the first of 4 that the Reds will have up there in the Champions Club.
And he fans Friedrich to retire the side, but after the Reds tied in the bottom of the 4th, Colorado back in front with a pair in the 5th. Game Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing, right here on Fox Sports Ohio. How about a little AT&T trivia question tonight, Chris? Which pitcher who went to college in the state of Kentucky has the most big league win? And of course, you are a native now of the, or a resident, I should say, not a native, but a resident of the Commonwealth.
Well, I've had a couple of.
That should say the Commonwealth of Kentucky, by the way.
I've had a couple of daughters go through the state university system there.
Oh, you did.
At the University of Kentucky.
Yep.
I think we're going to need some hints on that one.
You do?
Of course, Joe Blanton is a major league pitcher from the University of Kentucky.
Brandon Webb.
Brandon Webb, that's a good one right there.
And that is a shame that he had those shoulder injuries, because I might end up being like overwhelmed by whoever the answer is, because I don't know who it is. We're going to get clues here in a minute. And maybe it's somebody who won 300 games. I don't know. Jim Bunning.
That's a good guess right there.
You know, so, I mean, you're talking about a Hall of Fame guy. But there's no doubt in my mind that Brandon Webb stayed healthy, he'd have been on his way.
How about a hint? All right, now he pitched when there were only 8 teams in the National League. So that eliminates Brandon Webb and Joe Blanton.
But not Jim Bunning. He was there when I think they had 8 teams.
Well, they had 8 teams for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, and to the count. And a ground ball to the shortstop, to Lewinsky. Ozark retired to begin the inning. All right, hit number 2 now. Wow. In the Reds Hall of Fame. Well.
Oh, that was you reach for the media guide.
You talking about Don Gullett?
I'm not so. I think Don Gullett was chosen out of high school.
No, but it says from the state of Kentucky.
No, went to college in the state of Kentucky.
I beg your pardon. You're right. He was chosen out of high school.
Yeah.
I think.
Yo, he was, definitely.
All right.
There's that famous picture of Gene Bennett standing with Don Gullett when Don Gullett was an American Legion pitcher. Great photo. They have that down at Portsmouth. All right, final hint. And normally when you ask a question like this at that era, the answer is Bucky Walters. This is not Bucky Walters.
Okay. Two and one to Drew Stubbs.
All right, you're shaking your head. You're confused. Let me give you another hint. Off the record hint right here. Don't tell anybody. His last name is the same as the type of a gun.
Top of the gun. Stubbs chased that one up around his neck.
That's where Christian Friedrich likes to throw that fastball when he can, which is upstairs. He's got a very high arm angle, and the ball doesn't really sink. His experiment with trying to sink that ball down around the knees and get ground balls, that's a thing of the past. Fastball, curveball, changeup, and you got to lay off that one around the eyes.
Strike called on the outside corner to Joey Votto. Well, I figured it out who it was. This guy won a lot of games.
You went through the Reds media guide.
Well, I am.
And then you had Joe Luckham actually
that.
point to the guy on the page.
I did. I was just saying I finally figured out who it was.
Okay.
He won a lot of games.
Yes, he did. Of course, we're not going to reveal the answer until next inning.
No, we're not. Votto 2 out of 2 tonight. ran way in on him with a fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Just served into left field. Wow. Votto's so quiet so far in this homestand, but you knew with him it wasn't going to be long.
Did this guy hit or what? I mean, you talk about hitting the ball where it's pitched. That's it right there. They put the shift on him. He's going to ruin all the defensive charts if he keeps that up. You're going to pull him out of the binder and tear him up and throw him away.
Well, there's some guys you just should. I mean, there are just some guys that it's exactly what you should do. There aren't many of them. He's one of them. Pujols when he was rolling all those years. I mean, a scouting report, give me a break.
Although on the ground, they play both Pujols and Votto up the middle with the shortstop. But other than that, it's like flipping a coin.
You just got to hope that he doesn't run into one and hit it somewhere hard. I don't mean a home run. Guys like that.
Votto and Helton have had a lot of conversation time down there.
Well, they've both been hit machines tonight. Helton has 2 hits, knocked in 3. That's hammered but foul. Well, he jumped all over that one, did Brandon. Isn't it funny when you're winning like the Reds have been winning here over the last 6 days? You know, as opposed to when you're really not playing well or you're going through an ugly year. It's no guarantee it's going to happen, but you always feel like something good is going to happen. You know, when you fall behind in a game, you always feel like something big is on the cusp of happening for your team when you're playing well. We'll see if that's in the cards for tonight. 1-1 is high. 2-1 to Brandon Phillips. Reds down 2, 1 on, 2 outs in the 5th. And hooked foul again, way out in front again.
Well, the first one that he hooked foul was a changeup. That last one was a curveball. And right now, I think young Christian Friedrich is trying to figure out a pitch that he can get by Brandon Phillips. He's hit the ball hard both times up.
Three and 2 now on Brandon Phillips. Friedrich okays his sign with his catcher Rosario, and now the payoff pitch. Nope, he'll send Votto back to the bag. Walked it. First walk all night long by Christian Friedrich, and here comes Bob Apodaca for a quick visit before he faces Chris Heisey.
Well, if you look at the numbers that Christian Friedrich had this year down in the Pacific Coast League for Colorado Springs, which might be an even tougher place to pitch than Colorado and Denver. I mean, he did not walk very many batters at all. He had 27 strikeouts, only 4 bases on balls. So he's always been around the plate. Has the ability to strike him out. And Apodaca now has come up there twice to try to give him a little checkup from the neck up, settle him down, and kind of remind him what they've been working on in the bullpen.
You know, again, amazingly, during this Reds 6-game winning streak, you know, batting with runners in scoring position has just been as ugly as it comes for this team all year long, even during the winning streak.
Sure.
9 hits and 41 at-bats. Yet they still found a way to score 30 runs. 19 of the 30 runs during the winning streak have come directly via the home run ball. That's 9 for 51. They are with runners in scoring position during the winning streak, and for a season at 198.
Well, to put that in perspective, I think compared to other teams, there's only one ball club that has hit worse than the Reds with runners in scoring position. I believe that's the Padres. So you're right down there at the bottom of the list. But as long as you run the kind of pitching out there, you're hanging in ball games. Here they are, not hitting again tonight, but they're still in this ball game in a big way.
2-0 the count now as that breaking ball misses down and in on Heisey, who has struck out looking and lined out to the shortstop his last time up.
Yeah, it looks like this left-hander's trying a little bit too hard right now. Sometimes you get caught up in the whole competition of things, the situation. You stop thinking about what you should do and you think about what might happen if you don't do what you can.
Again, much like the 2-0 count his last time up, Heisey had a pitch right down the can and fouled it straight back.
And that's his pitch too, up, out over the plate, but again, that's also Friedrich's pitch.
Friedrich retired the first 2 batters in the inning. Allowed a single to Votto, a walk to Phillips, and now the 2-1 on Heisey. And never going to hit that pitch.
A lot of guys around Major League Baseball that make a good living throwing that ball right there. It looks so good. Your eyes are near that pitch. I mean, all the way down to Little League. How many times did your coach tell you, make them bring it down? Same way up here.
Heisey chased another one out of the strike zone and able to put bat on ball to foul it off this time. Friedrich over the 90-pitch mark, and we're only in the 5th inning. Heisey looking for a big 2-out hit. Reds down a pair with 2 on and 2 out. And the count has gone full. The runners get started.
How do you throw on 3-2 what you threw on 2-2? That was the curveball after seeing a couple of fastballs get fouled back.
Threw that fastball up and got Heisey to chase it again. Chris lucky to put a bat on it. Once more the 3-2. Votto and Phillips running on the pitch. Grounded foul. This one way down around his shin. Last 2 pitches. Forget the speed differential. There's about a 2.5, 3 foot differential north and south on those. Pitches thus far in this at bat. Izzy hoping to cash in big on number 9. Well, he must have swung at 4 balls in that at bat. And a catcher makes a play to win the inning. Easily 4 balls. Cheer on the Reds. They take on the Rockies tomorrow night. It's a 7:15 game here at the ballpark. And take advantage of the Reds 4 for $48 ticket deal. 4 view level tickets. And you get 4 Reds hats for $48. Don't forget, come down early. First 20,000 fans through the gates get a Scott Rowland Rawlings Gold Glove Award replica trophy presented by Con. 3-1 Reds for tickets. We'll see you tomorrow night. J.J. Hoover took over for Johnny Cueto in the 5th inning. Got the final out, and now he faces the top of the order with Colorado in front by a pair. Eric Young Jr. showing bunt, ball 1. Well, he looks just like his dad, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
It's amazing.
Well, his dad was one heck of a player, too. Talk about exciting.
One out in the inning on a fly ball to Ludwig, and now to be Scooter Road. I'll tell you, I'll never forget that that first year. Chris, I think you were broadcast. Is this year number 20 for you?
Yes, it is.
Well, then you were obviously doing the Reds games that first year going out to Colorado, and I'll never forget it, that 93 season. I was doing the Cubs games at the time. Played 4th of July there. A 4-game series. The 4th of July. Over 250,000 fans in a 4-game series. I've never seen anything like it. 70,000 every night. The first game they ever played, that stadium, Mile High Stadium, it would seat 70,000. Right around 74,000, but they could have standing room only up to 6,000. The first game they ever played against the Montreal Expos, they had 80,000 fans there. I've never seen anything like it for baseball in my life.
Well, it was really an odd ballpark, and they drew an average of over 55,000 people. They had 4,483,000 people go through the turnstiles that year. It was a short porch to left field, only like about 330 down the line. And I think it was like 435 to dead center field. And remember that right field pavilion there where they had the big white horse?
Oh, yeah.
From the Denver Broncos?
Yep.
A lot of people don't remember, but that was the AAA franchise for the Reds for 1 year. Called the Denver Zephyrs. Chris Sabo on that ball club. Paul O'Neill on that ball club.
And, of course, a man who really is considered to be really the grandfather, the father, whatever term you want to use, of baseball in Denver, professional baseball in Denver, is Bob Housen. And how in the world they could have a National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, and Bob Housen not be in it? It's just, it's almost one of those where you say they should shut the place down because he's not in it. I mean, he led the Reds to World Series championships, the Cardinals to World Series championships. So instrumental in bringing Major League Baseball to Denver. It's not there. Good work by Hoover. Reds coming right back up, down by 2. On Fox Sports Ohio, stick around for Reds Live, the postgame version, brought to you by Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. And now we answer our AT&T trivia question. Which pitcher who went to college in the Commonwealth of Kentucky has the most big league wins? And you said after a few clues, Paul Derringer. 161 of those came with the Reds. He went to Georgetown College. Had 4 20-win seasons with the Reds, including 3 in a row, 38, 39, and 40. We talk about a year the Reds win the pennant, 39. He went 25-7 with a 2.93 ERA. And of course, a year later, the Reds were world champions after coming up short the year before. Well, the starter Friedrich out of the game. And now Josh Renicky, former Red, comes on to pitch out of their bullpen.
You know, you always liked Josh Renicky's arm. He was with the Reds. He came from the University of California, LA, UCLA. Was an outfielder, and he really hadn't pitched much at all in college, and he came right through the Red system very quickly because his arm was so good. The Reds had a lot of relievers, ended up trading him up to Toronto, ends up here with Colorado, and you figured somewhere along the line, if he ever got the feel of pitching and put that physical talent together along with, you know, the approach you need to get big league hitters out, that he'd be able to pitch at this level no problem.
Well, he leads the Rockies with those 23 1/3 innings pitched out of their bullpen this year.
I mean, he's a big, strong guy.
Oh, he played on the UCLA football team, if I remember right.
Yes,
right? Wide receiver.
Yes, he did.
He is the nephew of Ron Rennick, the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers. Now this guy is having a nice year. Opponents batting .195 against him. But we saw him when he first came up with the Reds, and really the one thing that hasn't changed all that much is he can at times. He's always been hard to hit, but he's got to throw it over the plate. See right there in the radar gun, he can run it up there now. 95 miles per hour with that fastball. Ludwig to be followed by Frazier and Hannigan. We'll have a pinch hitter should we get down to that spot, 4th in the inning. To bat for Hoop, Alfredo Simon. Getting loose in the bullpen. Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming up to lead things off against Rennicky. Only in the bottom of the 6th inning. Reds have a 2-run deficit to try and make up against this Colorado bullpen. Base hit to start it.
I think that was one of those at-bats where the pitcher's actually throwing his fastball by the hitter. Ryan Ludwig fouling the ball back, not quite getting in front of it enough on the fastball, but you finally speed the hitters up, or the hitter's bat speed up by dropping that breaking ball in there. And a base hit for Ludwig. 2nd in a row for Ryan.
All right, so now Frazier, who has flied to right and knocked in a pair of runs with a double down the left field line in the Reds' 4th inning. All 3 Cincinnati runs in the game came in that 4th inning against the departed starter Christian Friedrich, who goes 5 innings, allows 7 hits and 3 runs. He fanned 6 and walked only 1 batter. A ball and a strike. Two balls and a strike on Frazier. That's a quick bat on the inside part of the plate, isn't it?
Well, you're talking about a guy that is grooved and ready for a fastball. I mean, that gives it away right there. So if you're a pitcher or a catcher, you realize that right away. And now you get 2 strikes on him, and you're thinking to yourself, well, if he's that far ahead of my fastball, I may have to pull the string right here. See if he can wait on it. Wants the heater upstairs to try to run it by him at eye level.
And the Reds have been chasing that no matter who's on the mound. 1 out inning.
A lot of people that watch baseball don't understand how much faster your bat has to be to get on a high fastball than a low fastball. Especially when you're holding the bat straight up and down like Todd Frazier does. You see how long that bat loop has to get into the hitting zone on a ball that's around the letters. When it's low, all you need to do is drop that bat head and it gets there. When it's high, you've got to get that ball out in front of home plate. And that's why it's so hard to hit a good fastball when they go up the ladder on you.
So now Ryan Hannigan, he's grounded out to short and struck out. 1 on, 1 out. Reds down 2. We're in the last of the 6th inning. Hey, Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting, healthier products for your menu. JTM. And 1 on Hannigan. Well, every scouting report, when scouts come rolling through here, those guys don't miss much. And well aware that the Reds, more than any other batter in their lineup by far. In fact, I can't even remember virtually anybody they've used besides Hannigan to hit and run with much at all over the last year or 2.
Well, it's a perfect situation because you're going to pinch hit for the pitcher anyway. You've got 1 out. You got a guy that can make contact. And it would have been a good time to do it. And a double play ball.
So we've played 6, and Colorado has a 5-3 lead. A 5-3 ball game. We go to the 7th inning. Dusty Baker makes a double switch. Miguel Cairo takes over at third base. He'll bat in the number 9 spot in the batting order, which means he will lead off when the Reds bat in the bottom of the 7th inning, and now on to pitch. It's been a while since we've called his name, Alfredo Simon.
And it also means that you really only make a double switch if you anticipate that pitcher possibly going more than 1 inning. Otherwise, you leave the existing third baseman in there, you bring a pitcher in, and then you pinch it for him. So Simon, it has been a while since we've seen him. Of course, he was a starter for a couple of years when he was with the Baltimore Orioles. He hasn't pitched since the Reds were in Atlanta.
No.
It's a long time ago, the 15th. I didn't realize it was 10 days already.
Well, he didn't pitch at all in New York the entire 5 days, and obviously we've not seen him during his homestand.
Well, one of these situations where it's not really easy. I've been in that spot where you're kind of the long man and you don't get a lot of tune-up work, and sometimes when you don't get touches, your touch isn't there. That's a pretty good-looking pitch. It goes for a strike right there to start it off with a little splitter. Fastball, slider, curveball, and splitter is what Alfredo Simon will throw.
Tardy on that fastball at 95 miles per hour is Troy Tulowitzki, and pops it up into right field for Heisey.
Came right after him there.
No, you can understand what little we have seen out of Alfredo Simon. Now, we didn't see him in Baltimore.
No.
Have no idea outside of just looking at the numbers really what happened with him. He had a chance to start. He had a chance to close. He had a chance to really do everything in between. But you can understand when you see him pitch in at least the overwhelming majority of outings we've seen him with the Reds, why you would take a flyer on a guy like Alfredo Simon.
Absolutely, just on the arm alone.
Yeah.
And then you also kind of wonder, how good must the Baltimore Orioles pitching staff be if they're going to let an arm like this go? And the answer is pretty good.
Yep.
Because after all, they're atop the American League East. A game up on Tampa Bay with a 28-17 record. The Orioles under Bucky Showalter having a great first half of the season.
Yes, they are. 2 quick outs for Alfredo Simon, and you're wondering about the Baltimore Orioles pitching staff. 3.5 ERA. That is 5th best in the league. How about their bullpen? 2.31 earned run average. Second only to the Texas Rangers. So that's pretty good bullpen.
Yeah, their bullpen kind of like the Reds. They hold their opposition to a .219 batting average. So,
how good must be the Rangers bullpen? I mean, look at those numbers. 2.03 ERA in a league, batting .195 against them. They struck out 119 and walked 22. Oh. Of course, that's another good team.
But we look at teams that overall in Major League Baseball, the Reds are right there. They're 5th in the league. But very curiously, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 3rd. Of course, the Reds are heading to Pittsburgh Sunday after the last game here of this 3-game series against the Rockies.
The Reds will go to Pittsburgh. They will go to Houston, and then they'll come back for a lengthy homestand. They'll see those same 2 teams and then interleague play against the Tigers. Colvin jumped all over that fastball and hooks it into right center field, and that'll be a double for Tyler Colvin with 2 men out here in the 7th inning.
He does turn on a fastball right here. Simon gets that ball up about thigh high and right into the corner. A little chula underneath the pad in right center field.
I'd like to send out a quick get well soon to Dan Caudle of Dayton, Ohio. He's recovering from a pair of surgeries last week. Thoughts and prayers for a speedy recovery, Dan, and hopefully this win streak has brought you a little bit of happiness, and maybe they can get another one for you here tonight. First pitch breaking ball in there to Pacheco. He had a big 2-out hit to knock Cueto out of the game in that 2-run 5th inning. Rockies had already scored a run. They had 2 on with nobody out, but Cueto got a ground ball double play off the bat of Colvin. But then the dagger from Pacheco on that double up the third base line.
Yeah, the double down the line, sometimes that's a ball that you just have bad luck on. A couple of feet to the right, and that ball's an easy ground ball for the third baseman. As it was, it hugged the third base bag, and that is a big hit right now.
Obviously, you're already down a pair. This is a very important batter in inning 4, Simon and the Reds. They've got 3 more cracks at him. It'll be Cairo, Cozart, Stubbs, and they're hoping for plenty more than that to bat in the Cincinnati bottom of this 7th inning. Alfredo.
Nice.
Big fella hadn't pitched in a week and a half.
He's going to have to show me how he does that on Tech Talk.
Reds with MLB.com at bat 12. Text it back to 31826 or visit Reds.com for details. Well, I know you're dialed in for the Columbus Crew. They're back on the home front tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, taking on Chicago. So tune in for your home of the Crew, Fox Sports Ohio. Adam Ottavino taking over now on the mound, pitching in his 6th game since being brought up from the minor leagues. Redicky goes an inning, allows a hit, no runs, and 1 strikeout. Ottavino just brought up prior to last Sunday's game. It's the 2nd time he's been with a major league club this year. Slider in there, a strike. This guy is a strikeout pitcher big time. They found this guy off waivers from St. Louis, much like the Reds did with Alfredo Simon. Ottavino.
He's a former #1 draft pick.
First at bat of the night for Cairo, rolls over 1 down to 3rd. That's an easy out. The home run ball has not appeared thus far, and Reds have been limited to just 3 runs. They got the RBI double by Ludwig in the 4th, 2-run double in the same inning. Very next batter by Frazier. And they've had a couple of other chances. They had 2 on with 2 outs in the 5th inning. But Heisey fouled out to the catcher. Had a leadoff man aboard in the 6th. Cozart 1 out of 3 is fouled out, doubled, and bounced out to Tulowitzki. Threw a fastball right by Cozart there. Trying to start a little action right here and right now. Get Votto to the plate if possible with a couple of guys on. It's fouled away on that slider. And it's 1-2 to Cozart.
Yeah, he's missed a couple of times with the slider now, and you just wonder if he's just going to go right back to that fastball. Cozart, though, very quick bat. That's what he hit for a double down the third baseline in his second at bat tonight. That was off the starter. And the slider got him.
Well, strikeouts piling up tonight for the Reds. Starter in 5 innings had 6 of them. Renicky with 1. And now Ottavino with 1. Two outs for Drew Stubbs. Reds down a pair with 2 away in a 7th. Trying to bunt his way on, and that's strike 1 on the foul ball. Reds 6-game winning streak on the line here tonight. They've not won 7 in a row since they won the division 2 seasons ago in that 2010 year. Alone in first place for the first time since May the 18th of last season. That slider is under the knees. 2-1 to Stubbs. And by the way, the Cardinals have a 1-run lead, 3-2 in the 5th inning over the Phillies. I believe that is Cliff Lee that was slated to get the start in that one for Philadelphia.
Cliff Lee and Kyle Loesch.
3-1. Lee having spent a little bit of time on the DL. And 2 to Stubbs. He thought that was ball 4. Very quiet night for Drew tonight. He struck out swinging in the first, did the same in the 5th, and sandwiched in between a ground ball to Tulowitzki. Ball 4, and the inning will continue.
And it continues for the big guy right here. He'll stand and wait, thinking that maybe Jim Tracy's going to make a pitching change. And yep, Tracy comes out of the dugout hopping up those stairs, and he's already called for a left-hander to face Joey Votto, taking no chance at all.
Well, it's a slam dunk bet. This is going to be Matt Reynolds coming on from their bullpen. So Ottavino gives them 2/3. And it is not, I beg your pardon, surprise, surprise, it's going to be left-hander Josh Outman to try and get the final out in this 2-run game. We're back in a moment. The Colorado bullpen came back off the disabled list on the 11th of May. Came over from Oakland for outfielder Seth Smith, and look at the numbers against lefties, against everybody. No home runs.
Little slider right there. Wears his cap like a lefty, doesn't he? A little tilted off to the side.
Boy, that's a tired look. That is. That tilted off to the side stuff.
Let a left-hander be a left-hander, will you?
Edinson Volquez used to do that.
Joey Votto was at that season ticket holders luncheon today. Special guest Bob Castellini came in there, thrilled the crowd by showing up. He told a great story about his walk-up song, which is Painted Black by the Rolling Stones. Somebody asked him about it. He says, you know, I like the song. I like that everybody claps and gets into it. And there's a certain part of the song that when they get to it, I feel like I puff my chest out, strut to the plate, and I'm the most important guy in the ballpark.
Nice.
He was very engaging. Really thrilled a lot of people by being there today. That's a wonderful, wonderful event. They have 4 of them a year, those season ticket holder luncheons, and they're sold out immediately. They've got 100 people on the waiting list.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
1-2 the count on Votto. Outman delivers. And it's in the air, right center field. This baby will fall. Cutting it off out there. Nice play by Colvin. And fires back into the infield. A double by Votto sends Stubbs to third.
Man, oh man.
4-hit night for Joey Votto.
Well, he senses, I guess, when the rest of the team's not hitting. He wasn't really in the offensive act against the Braves, but he has been tonight. 4 of them on the night. Gets his foot down, gets that bat through the zones, splits the seam in right center field. And despite a good play by the right fielder, Colvin, he's able to get in there for a double. Now you've got the tying run on second base, and Jim Tracy playing a little chess out there.
Well, they're going to bring Pacheco out of the game at third and make a double switch. Outman allows a hit to the only batter he faces. And so they're going to go to their bullpen and bring on former Red Matt Belisle. Reds have a tying run in scoring position. We'll be right back. Last of the seventh, runners at second and third. Matt Belisle, the former Red, to face his former teammate Brandon Phillips. 2 are out in the inning. Phillips had a chance back in the opening inning with Votto at second and 2 out. He hit a ball right on the nose, line out to the center fielder. The Ascent singled, scored, and drawn a walk. Quickly 0-2.
I'll tell you, you're looking at a completely different pitcher in Matt Belisle now than when he was with the Cincinnati Reds. He spent 5 years, or parts of 5 years, with the Reds, mostly as a starter. Had 43 starts with the Reds, and his earned run average over that period of time was over 5. But then he went to Colorado, of all places, to get his pitching healthy. They converted him only to the bullpen. Short reliever, middle reliever, coming in, inning at a time. And he has carved himself out a very nice major league career. One of the nicest young men you'll ever meet.
Well, he's coming there and gotten ahead quickly of Brandon Phillips with Stubbs at third base and Votto carrying the tying run out there at second base.
Well, if you're thinking along with Belisle now, he's gone fastball, slider, waist pitch fastball, eye high. Maybe go right back downstairs with that slider to try to make Brandon chase.
That's what he did, and he got him swinging. Boy, the Reds continue to scuffle unbelievably with runners in scoring position. Reds team and celebrate history on Sunday, June the 24th at the Reds Hall of Fame induction gala. That's presented by CincyFavorites.com. Of course, the 2012 inductees include Sean Casey, Dan Dreesen. The gala is June the 24th. Call 513-765-7921 or visit museum.org today. And tonight, the Ohio Lottery Mega Millions jackpot up to $24 million now. Drawing will be at 11 p.m. tonight. All right, 5-3 ball game. Colorado bats with a lead here in the 8th inning against Alfredo Simon, who allowed 1 hit, got a strikeout in a scoreless 7th inning. Eight, 9, and 1 in the batting order. Of course, 9 is part of that double switch when they brought Belisle into the game. DJ LeMahieu took over at third base for Jordan Pacheco, so he's on deck. Pulled foul. The Colorado closer is Rafael Betancourt. Of course, the Reds have seen him a lot through the years, all the time he spent with the Cleveland Indians. He had a horrible start to last year and then really came on strong over the second half of the year, and they made the decision to cut loose Houston's streak. Their oft-injured closer. Slow breaking ball by Alfredo. Big fella throwing the ball well.
He really is. For a guy that has not been out there in 10 days, you'd think that he'd really suffer with his control, but dropping down, throwing a little sidearm breaking ball right there. He's got both the curveball and the slider splitter. Wonderful young man. Really a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, you were
you don't really get to know
praises.
A lot of people don't really get to know him because, you know, you're a reliever. You don't get in very many ball games. You know, you rarely do you interview middle relievers, you know, as a star of the game, or even, you know, in our pregame show. But he can really give the bullpen a boost. You come in here and throw a couple of zeros on the board and keep your team in the game.
Nice pick up there by Cairo. 2 are out.
LeMahieu making his Colorado Rocky debut right there. Acquired from Chicago. We told you about that deal. And 0-2 ground ball. Nice backhand. Guy's solid.
Two down for Eric Young Jr., who's batting for the 5th time in a game. He had an RBI single and a little flare off the end of the bat in the 4th inning. Reds in the bottom half of the 8th. They'll have to get it done with the bottom part of their batting order. They've got Heisey, Ludwig, and then a pinch hitter due up. Don't forget they've got Jay Bruce sitting over there on that bench. They were going to use Mike Costanzo a bit earlier, and the Reds are going to come up there. We'll find out who's going to bat third in the inning. Starting to run out of time now. And the Reds rally in the 8th. They're down a pair. Being brought to you in part by Cincinnati Children's in the top 10 for all selected pediatric specialties in U.S. News and World Report's 2011 Best Children's Hospitals. And by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado in your tri-state Chevy dealers. Here we go. Reds back. Down by 2 against Matt Belisle here in the last of the 8th inning. Heisey, Ludwig, and we shall see. 8th inning belongs to Belisle. Trying to get it to Betancourt. They do have another left-hander down that bullpen, Reynolds, should they need it. That's a weak fly ball that will drift out of play. Fastball away.
Hey, what Belisle has turned himself into an excellent control pitcher. He's only walked 2 batters in 23 innings. Not overpowering stuff. Just a guy that has confidence in his stuff. Attacks hitters with strikes.
Sinking liner that stays up too long, unfortunately. That ball hit very hard by Heisey, and that's a first out here in the 8th inning. The Reds have just been unable outside of the 4th to get the big hit. Frazier was one of the guys who had a big hit, a 2-run double, or a Nissan drive in a game. Had tied the game at the time. Reds had fallen behind 3-0. Tied it with 3 runs in the 4th inning, but they left 2 on in the 5th. When Heisey fouled out, 2 on in the 7th when Phillips struck out. Ludwig's had a good night. Fly ball to center, RBI double, scored a run, and then single to left field in the 6th. Mike Costanzo is in the on-deck circle.
tell you what, Bilal's ready to go, isn't he? Pitcher gets 12 seconds between pitches. He only needs about 3. I mean, he is ready to pump it up there as soon as he gets that ball back.
That ball's in the air to right center field and playable the track for Colvin, and just like that, 2 are out.
Sometimes you get a pitcher who's in a hurry like that, and he kind of forces the batter to get into the batter's box before he's mentally ready. And he kind of dictates the timing of the inning. Bobby Apodaca getting paid by Face TV time tonight.
Well, you know, look, when you're playing in Denver, they've already had 2 9-game homestands out there this year. And you say, well, big deal, that's great. Well, it's not great when you're the Rockies. You watch baseball enough games in that ballpark, and we've been privileged to do so. I mean to tell you, for a manager or a pitching coach, a bullpen, it can beat you down mentally so bad. Starters, they're starting pitching, the ERA close to 6 as a group. So they're not hanging around in games very long. And you're trying to do everything you can not to run your bullpen in the ground by the end of the first 2 months of the season.
How about the umpire, Paul Emmel? Looking at Bobby Apodaca as he's walking off the mound. I mean, walking off the mound, he jumped over the line. Then he went from a trot to a walk. And Emmel's like, let's go off the field. Watched him ride the dugout. Want to speed that ball game up. Paul Emmel in a hurry to watch the fireworks tonight.
So Costanzo now batting for Alfredo Simon, who did an excellent job tonight. Hadn't pitched in almost a week and a half, and he goes 2 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball.
Looked very good doing it.
2 strikeouts, no walks. So the bullpen again tonight, 3 1/3 innings behind a rare off night for Johnny Cueto, and they've given up 1 hit in 3 1/3. 2-2 to Costanzo.
Yeah, he's just not getting his hands back enough to be able to get that bat through. They're throwing that fastball by him. The aim for most of the pitchers facing Costanzo with that fastball is just right underneath his hands. Arredondo in the pen.
Well, the Reds down to 4 outs to play with here, with 2 down and nobody on, trailing by a pair in the bottom of the 8th inning. And Bilal trying to make it a 1-2-3 inning, and he does. Costanzo just blown away. And off we go to the 9th. America comes your way on the Fox network, and it'll be the Rockies and the Reds. Baseball Night in America presented by Chevrolet. Tomorrow 7 Eastern only on Fox. John Morrell play of the game so far. Right from the start, setting the tone. Todd Helton. A 2-run home run that barely cleared the wall, but it put Colorado in front 2-0.
You'll be working that game tomorrow night. You and the Wild Thing, Mitch Williams.
Yeah.
Be tuning into that. Maybe we can get your dad back from the backcountry to tune into that ball game.
I don't even know. I'm not even quite sure if he gets a television reception where he is out there in the hills outside of Athens, Ohio. Hocking Hills, Dead Man's Cave.
He probably has like a satellite
Old
TV.
Man's Cave. I've been calling it that. Old Man's Cave.
Well, it's...
Well, he's there, so it's got to be Old Man's Cave.
Didn't want to say it. I'm glad you, his son,
I
did.
can get away with it.
You're grounded.
Jose Arredondo now on to pitch the top of the 9th inning. Colorado with a 2-run lead.
Boy, has this guy been good. He has really found the feel for that split finger fastball. Mixes it in with a 90 to 92 mile an hour regular fastball. And that splitter, of course, there you see it right there, comes in the mid 80s. He's also got one that he throws in the low 80s. He just simply crams that ball further back into between his two fingers. Like Jose showing me today the Tech Talk that we will show in an upcoming Reds Live. How he throws it to right-handers, how he throws it to left-handers, the difference there. Got a good feel for it.
Scudero to be followed by Carlos Gonzalez and Troy Tulowitzki if you're taking a peek around the corner. Reds in the bottom of the 9th inning have Hannigan, Cairo, and then back to the top of the order in Cozart. Off their bench they still have Wilson Valdez, Devin Mesoraco, and Jay Bruce. What a play by Cozart, and the throw is in time. Big league play right there by the rookie Zach Cozart.
Look where he's playing and look where he ends up. On his belly, a hot shot. I mean, Scudero was all over that. That's why you come to watch Big League Baseball right there.
Now Gonzalez, 1 hit in 4 at-bats tonight. He doubled off the left field wall to start the 2-run rally in the 5th. The Reds had tied the game in the bottom of the 4th inning at 3. But Gonzalez setting the stage for that tie-breaking top of the 5th inning. Big fireworks show, of course, after the game tonight, and the Reds are hoping to create some fireworks of their own against that guy right there. Betancourt in the bottom of the 9th. He'll come on to try and save it for Colorado. Three and 0. And that's a one-out walk.
Splitter after splitter. It's been a long time since I've seen a 3-ball no-strike splitter. That's the kind of respect that the Reds pitching staff will show Carlos Gonzalez in a 2-run ball game. He's looking 3-1 fastball, and you give him one and make a mistake with it, there's a chance that he makes it a 3-run game.
And that's a balk on Arredondo.
No argument from the Reds bench right there. Let's see if we can see what he did. Yep, he started and then stopped, and that was called by the home plate umpire Paul Emmel. In fact, it was Emmel just a couple of days in that showdown between the Indians and the Tigers when Masterson beat Verlander. Ended up ejecting Jimmy Leland and Tom Brookins, the first base coach, because he was working one of the bases and called a balk.
That was yesterday.
It was yesterday, yeah. 45th and 46th ejection of the year in Major League Baseball. So Emmel's hot right now.
And without even giving him a look. Wow. That just can't happen.
Well, it can't happen with one out.
I mean, never even a look after the first one.
It's a good time to do it, too, because, you know, you got a pitcher out there who's just had a balk, and he's more worried probably about not balking again than checking the runner. Just got him out of his element. Now you got to bring the infield in. Whole different deal now.
Boy, 2 big-time mental mistakes here by Arredondo. You issue the walk to Gonzalez with 1 out in the inning. A balk gets him to second, and then pays 0 attention. And Gonzalez could have crawled down to third. One and one on Troy Tulowitzki with 1 out. Folded badly on a splitter there. Well, if there is ever a time Arredondo needs that strikeout pitch, this would be it right here and right now. Nearly got him to chase it, but able to check his swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, it's funny because Arredondo throws so many of those splitters. You think, why would a hitter ever be fooled by it if you know it's coming up there? But he gives you such good arm action. It comes out of his hand looking like a fastball. And even if you tell yourself it's a splitter, it's just so hard to hold up on it.
Tulowitzki, a couple of hits, one of them an infield hit, has scored a couple of runs and drawn a walk. Tulowitzki had 4 RBIs when they snapped that 6-game losing streak 2 nights ago. That was 1 run batted in fewer than he had in the prior 20 games combined. Rather than talking to Bob Apodaca, maybe Paul Emmel ought to talk to Troy Tulowitzki. Base hit into center field. And it is a 3-run lead. Of course, that base hit would have put him at first and second base, but a balk and a steal, and that's an easy run.
Yeah, the balk is one thing, but the stolen base without even taking a look at the base runner, that was really the sin that committed by Arredondo that led to that run.
Now Helton has knocked in 3 runs tonight on a couple of base hits. One of them a 2-run home run, only his 5th of the year. So Hoover and Simon, they did their job. 3 1/3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, struck out 3, walked 1 batter, and that was an intentional walk. But Arredondo so far has given up a run, and he still needs 2 outs to get out of this 9th inning. A lot of time out there by Arredondo. Glance over and a throw over now to Tulowitzki. Second out of the inning. Already bad blood between the Boston Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. They've already had a beanball war earlier this year down in Florida, and apparently they're at it again tonight in Boston. Of course, all Tampa Bay does is just wear out Boston. Rays leading that game 7-4 in the 9th inning. Boston has their pitchers drilling Tampa Bay batters.
Bobby V wouldn't do that, would he?
I don't think he's pitching. I mean, they got guys getting into it with each other. They got guys getting into it with fans. It's a wild night up there in Boston. And, of course,
that's the umpire crew that was in here just a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
Angel Hernandez,
Hernandez and his group. They flew up there to Boston today to handle that series. Well, there's a history of bad blood between those two teams. 1-1 the count now on Tyler Colvin. 2 out, 1 in, and the Rays will take that lead into the bottom of the 9th inning. One and 2 on Colvin. Twenty-seven pitches so far in this inning for Jose Arredondo. Colvin 1 hit and 4 at bats tonight. Had a double to right center his last time up in the 7th inning. Swung on and fouled out of play. Tulowitzki with a run-scoring hit here in the 9th inning. Leads over at first. 2 are out. 2-2 on Tyler Colvin. And that'll retire the side. But a couple of mental miscues after a walk by Arredondo. He gives up a run. Reds come to bat bottom of the 9th, down 3. Our Miller Time brought to you by Miller Lite. Remember this, Chris? You and I were together on this day a year ago in Philadelphia. Wilson Valdez got the win, 19 innings.
That took forever, that ball game did. He got the pie in the big time. Gary Matthews didn't even move a muscle. But I remember them cheering. And those that were left behind at Citizens Bank Park were cheering. Wilson Valdez. And now we got him.
Boy, that was a long night.
That was a long night.
Man.
It would have been worth it if the Reds could have pulled that baby out. And so with this night, if they could pull it out against this guy, Rafael Betancourt. He's 7 for 8 in save opportunities. A very deliberate right-hander with some pretty good stuff.
People forget we played that 19-inning game and had a day game the next day.
Yeah. Had to sleep fast that night, my man.
All right, here we go. The Reds have Hannigan, Cairo, Cozart to begin the inning. You saw Betancourt, 7 of 8 in save opportunities so far this year. A season ago, they were ready to run this guy out of town after the first half of the year. But then he was virtually unhittable. He had an ERA of under 1 over the second half of the year.
Overall, he brought it down to 2.8 as a whole season.
And we mentioned many of these Reds have seen this guy aplenty. After all the years during interleague play where the Reds would play the Indians, Betancourt's former team.
You know the little gyrations and movements that Sean Casey used to do between pitches in and a bat? Well, Betancourt does the same thing, but on the mound. Take a watch right here. Okay. Get the ball back and just watch this guy. Oh, he's just getting started now.
Guy's got a few ticks. One and one to count on Ryan Hannigan. On the outside corner, a called strike. Oh, you got that thing down now. There's a turn. Where's a leg kick? Where's that thing?
Yeah, I think he does that every other pitch.
The leg kick.
On the odd pitches.
He's got the wipe on the brow with the right arm twice down. And a little turn. All right, here we go. There's one. A little variation. There's two.
2, 3.
Okay, double dip.
Got a double dip, yeah. Oh, that's the first time for the hip roll there. He does it quickly. I mean, I think he's just about within the time frame.
Well, for a long time there were managers in the American League that felt like this guy should have been, penalized an additional ball, and in fact, Tulowitzki throws out Hannigan to begin the bottom of the 9th inning. So the Reds now 6-game win streak. Down to its final 2 outs, perhaps, unless they can rally. Miguel Cairo is only time up, grounded out to third. Two on Miguel Cairo. Christian Friedrich, starter tonight for Colorado, goes 5, allows 3 runs. And, we talk so much virtually every night about how good the Reds bullpen is. And, statistically, the second best bullpen in the league. Well, the Colorado bullpen has done quite a job here tonight. They have made the pitches when they needed to make them most. Especially that big strikeout of Brandon Phillips by Matt Belisle, stranding 2 in the 7th inning. Still 0-2 on Cairo. Got to find a way, somehow, some way, to get Votto to the plate here in the 9th inning. And Cairo now, you got Cozart next, Stubbs, then Votto. So the catcher back there, Rosario, wanting this pitch up in his zone. And he got it there, and he got him out.
Well, he's got some pretty good control. Catcher calls it high. The one place you don't want to miss is down around the belt. And Reds have been victim of that particular pitch in that spot a lot tonight. Man, how would you like to ride an elevator with that guy? 98th floor, please.
Ten pitches so far, 9 of them strikes by Betancourt, and now it's Cozart, and that's ball 1.
No thanks, I'll take the stairs.
Well, it really is so true, and you see it a lot of times with relievers, how, one team's trash, to borrow that old cliche, is another man's treasure. That ball's hit hard down the left field line, but foul. They were so high on Betancourt in Cleveland. Everything went crashing down, and they couldn't get him out of there fast enough. Goes to Colorado, and so far anyway, the reverse of all that. But, you know, with guys in the bullpen that are not established bona fide closers or guys that have just found a niche to be among the best setup pitchers in the league, you can see variations in individuals in a bullpen and bullpens collectively. It's one of the hardest areas of a baseball team to try and gauge and manage and read one year to the next.
Because a lot of times it fluctuates, and all it takes is the addition of 1 or 2 pitchers, the removal of 1 or 2 pitchers. You got a whole different composition there.
Two and two to Kozar. I mean, you know, you get around and you start talking about baseball, and, you know, a team will say, well, hey, our bullpen last year. I mean, look at Arizona Diamondbacks. A year ago, you couldn't touch their bullpen. 2 years ago, they had the worst bullpen maybe in the history of the game. And now this year, it's gone south again. Fly ball, and the 6-team winning streak will come to an end tonight. It's where you talk about all the time, Chris. You play 14 games in a row against teams with a 500-plus record. You win 9 of the 14. And now a club comes limping into town, and boy, I mean limping. And they come in and they get you.
Hey, and they beat your ace of the staff, too. Do me a favor. Don't show me that graphic again about the above 500 teams and the below 500 teams. As we said at the very onset of this ball game, any team on any night, here the Rockies come in with a rookie pitcher, a young man that is only making his 4th major league start. He goes out there and doesn't give him a quality start, but gives him 5 innings of baseball, keeps his team in the game. The Rockies are able to push some runs on an off night by Johnny Cueto. Next thing you know, you look at the sorry side of the scoreboard, and you got to come out to get them tomorrow.
All right, night game tomorrow night. That'll be a 7:15 first pitch. Tickets are available. Come on down.